Merry Christmas, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Hope you're well. If you watch this in replay, leave a comment below what Santa got you. I'm going to send this to everybody. You know, you may never know. I'm late. I was supposed to do this at 7 a.m. on 7:21. Good. Hey there. Merry Christmas, Bev. Let's send this to Instagram. Oh boy. Wait. Not everybody's in this picture. That's not fair. Wait, what? Sorry. Hey, Jerry, Merry Christmas. I'm looking at, Merry Christmas, Arnie. I was going downstairs to get my coffee and I looked underneath the tree. You know those lifesavers, like a book of lifesavers? There was two underneath the tree. I'm like, Santa came. I cried. Well, this picture of Lance Stewart. Now, a year ago, he broke up with his girlfriend. Now, who do you think that girl is? Huh? Maybe they got back together? Oh my god. Yeah, I cried when I know it's just lifesavers, but still. Okay, let's send this notification out to everybody. Is that it? Oh no, I'm done. It's live. So come check it out. Yep, that's it. So I'll do that and do that. Yes, Merry Christmas. So, Arnie, what did Santa Claus get the cats? I'm dying to know what Alicia got. So, oh, I never wrote down in my. Ooh, oh, really, Maya? Wow. That was Maya saying Merry Christmas. You can leave that in. That means Merry Christmas. Hey, Ethan, and Merry Christmas, sweetheart. What did Santa bring you? So, someone was in my live earlier yesterday. Was very upset. Someone told him Santa was not real. I am so. I blocked the person because that's not right to say that. No matter what your beliefs is. Nice, dude. Star Wars for anybody, you know. I would like Star Wars stuff, so I gotta write my stuff in the book, so I completely forgot about that. But I can do that as we're listening to the Bible, so let's not do that. Let's say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us for our trespasses. Forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. And amen. Exactly. Santa is real. He just goes to kids. He came to my house. I don't know why he can't would come to my house. I'm not a kid. Oh, Shauna. Oh, thank you, Shauna. Yeah, she's here, Izzy. Thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas, Vicky. I don't know why. I always have to think of people's real names because. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you. Then after today, I probably won't light my town no more. I'm waiting for 3 hours. So what are you gonna do this morning? Because you chose to go out to eat to a really good restaurant instead. So what would you do? Oh, Night Owl. I read The Night Before Christmas last night on live. It touched my heart that there's two things underneath the tree of lifesavers. I'm like, yay! I cried. I'm like, Santa came. Oh, it's okay. It's all good. You can always read it. Or read it. Listen to it later. Oh, Jerry. Okay, let's listen. Let's read. We're reading from Jesus Calling. I read it for random kids with no friends, which I told him he needs to change that the word no in there and say have lots of friends. But he left already, but I was reading it for him. It doesn't matter if you're 15, 16, or 30, or my age, 46. If you believe in Santa, you believe in Santa. But let me just close this for now. You don't go to the houses at certain ages. Only if there's kids in the house. Okay, let's read number 25. Well, let's turn to 25 first. As you await attentively to my presence, the light of the knowledge of my glory shines upon you. This radiant knowledge transcends all understanding. It transforms every fiber of your being, renewing your mind, cleansing your heart, invigorating your body. I might have said that word wrong. Open yourself fully to my presence. Be aware by my glorious being. Trying to imagine what I gave up when I came into your world as a baby. I set aside my glory so that I could identify with mankind. I accepted the limitations of infancy under the most appalling conditions. A filthy stable that was a dark night for me, even though angels lit up the sky proclaiming glory to awestruck shepherds. When you sit quietly with me, the process I want, no, the process I went through is reversed into, no, it's reversed in your experience as you identify with me. Heaven's vistas open up before you, granting you glimpses of my glory. I became poor so that you might become rich. Sing hallelujah to my holy name. Let me put this aside. See this? I can write that later on. I can write it in a week. So, all right. I'm still tearing up. Donuts, sweet donut. Oh. Hey, Kevin. Merry Christmas, Kevin. Kevin, are you happy you get to play a game today? You better do a live on that. Let me put the chat up. I don't know who that person is, though. Oh, boy. Okay. I'll watch that later. My favorite thing the day after, or maybe a few days after, is to watch people's morning gift openings on YouTube. I love doing that. Thank you, Booking.com. Hey. Yeah, after, though. Spend time with your family today. And don't help them cook. Okay. First, we're going to be reading 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. I'm so excited I get to read on Christmas. 4, 6. How come I always read this one? So what color do I do? Oh, I do it that color, I think. For God who said, "Let there be light," in the darkness, has made this light shine in your heart, so we could know the glory of God. Sorry, that is seen in the face of Jesus Christ. Next is Philippians. I'll tell you the thing in a minute. Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 and 7. Though he was God, he did not think of equally in God with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave and was born as a human being when he appeared in human form. Oh, you didn't know that, Jerry? Yeah, he decided just to leave it as Dark Heart. And I told him he should never deleted all his content. I know someone that goes through his channel every year. And what had bad views, he just takes it off. I told him stop. Just leave it up. Because you learn from that. Alright, the next one is Luke chapter 2, verses 13 and 14. Luke is up, right? Yep. Suddenly the angels was joined by a vast host of others, the armies of heaven, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and peace on earth to those whom God is pleased." Hey, Mark. Good morning and Merry Christmas. Or whatever holiday you celebrate. Next, last but not least, is Corinthians chapter 8, verse 9. Oh, 2 Corinthians chapter 8, 8 and 9. Verse 9. Okie dokie. And then we'll listen to Ezekiel. Probably finish that one. You know the great, generous grace of our Lord Jesus Christ. Though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor, so that by his poverty he could make you rich. Exactly. I don't even know what chapter we're on. I know yesterday I was really tired, so I went back to bed. Not long. I don't know which one we left. All right, we'll just pick one. How's that? All right. I clicked on number 40. I have no idea. So if it's repeated reading from yesterday, I apologize. No, we read 4 of them, right? 4 chapters yesterday. 37. All right. Yeah, we read up to 40. It's all coming back. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think we read 40. So here's 41.
Chapter 41. After that, the man brought me into the sanctuary of the temple. He measured the walls on either side of its doorway, and they were 10.5 feet thick. The doorway was 17.5 feet wide, and the walls on each side of it were 8.75 feet long. The sanctuary itself was 70 feet long and 35 feet wide. Then he went beyond the sanctuary into the inner room. He measured the walls on either side of its entrance, and they were 3.5 feet thick. The entrance was 10.5 feet wide, and the walls on each side of the entrance were 12.25 feet long. The inner room of the sanctuary was 35 feet long and 35 feet wide. This, he told me, is the most holy place. Then he measured the wall of the temple, and it was 10.5 feet thick. There was a row of rooms along the outside wall. Each room was 7 feet wide. These side rooms were built in 3 levels, one above the other, with 30 rooms on each level.
Since it's late, I'm only reading up to 9 o'clock, okay? And then I have to get dressed and go downstairs.
The supports for these side rooms rested on exterior ledges on the temple wall. They did not extend into the wall. Each level was wider than the one below it, corresponding to the narrowing of the temple wall as it rose higher. A stairway led up from the bottom level through the middle level to the top level. I saw that the temple was built on a terrace, which provided a foundation for the side rooms. This terrace was 10.5 feet high. The outer wall of the temple's side rooms was 8.75 feet thick. This left an open area between these side rooms and the row of rooms along the outer wall of the inner courtyard. This open area was 35 feet wide, and it went all the way around the temple. 2 doors opened from the side rooms into the terrace yard, which was 8.75 feet wide. One door faced north and the other south. A large building stood on the west, facing the temple courtyard. It was 122.5 feet wide and 157.5 feet long, and its walls were 8.75 feet thick. Then the man measured the temple, and it was 175 feet long. The courtyard around the building, including its walls, was an additional 175 feet in length. The inner courtyard to the east of the temple was also 175 feet wide. The building to the west, including its 2 walls, was also 175 feet wide. The sanctuary, the inner room, and the entry room of the temple were all paneled with wood, as were the frames of the recessed windows. The inner walls of the temple were paneled with wood above and below the windows. The space above the door leading into the inner room, and its walls inside and out, were also paneled. All the walls were decorated with carvings of cherubim, each with 2 faces, and there was a carving of a palm tree between each of the cherubim. One face, that of a man, looked toward the palm tree on one side. The other face, that of a young lion, looked toward the palm tree on the other side. The figures were carved all along the inside of the temple, from the floor to the top of the walls, including the outer wall of the sanctuary. There were square columns at the entrance to the sanctuary, and the ones at the entrance of the most holy place were similar. There was an altar made of wood 5 1/4 feet high and 3 1/2 feet across. Its corners, base, and sides were all made of wood. This, the man told me, is the table that stands in the Lord's presence. Both the sanctuary and the most holy place had double doorways, each with 2 swinging doors. The doors leading into the sanctuary were decorated with carved cherubim and palm trees, just as on the walls. And there was a wooden roof at the front of the entry room to the temple. On both sides of the entry room were recessed windows decorated with carved palm trees. The side rooms along the outside wall also had roofs.
My channel, my videos are not being flagged no more. I guess they finally seen that I'm harmless, so cross your fingers.
Chapter 42, Rooms for the Priests. Then the man led me out of the temple courtyard by way of the north gateway. We entered the outer courtyard and came to a group of rooms against the north wall of the inner courtyard. This structure, whose entrance opened toward the north, was 175 feet long and 87 1/2 feet wide. One block of rooms overlooked the 35-foot width of the inner courtyard. Another block of rooms looked out onto the pavement of the outer courtyard. The 2 blocks were built 3 levels high and stood across from each other. Between the 2 blocks of rooms ran a walkway 17 1/2 feet wide. It extended the entire 175 feet of the complex, and all the doors faced north. Each of the 2 upper levels of rooms was narrower than the one beneath it because the upper levels had to allow space for walkways in front of them. Since there were 3 levels and they did not have supporting columns as in the courtyard,
I think they wanted to review my content before they made it to get it monetized. That's what I think they were doing for a while. Since the new rules kicked in, every single video was being had to be reviewed, and every single one of them came back okay. It took some of them took them a week to get through it because I wasn't checking on it.
Each of the upper levels was set back from the level beneath it. There was an outer wall that separated the rooms from the outer courtyard. It was 87 1/2 feet long. This wall added length to the outer block of rooms, which extended for only 87 1/2 feet, while the inner block, the rooms toward the temple, extended for 175 feet. There was an eastern entrance from the outer courtyard to these rooms. On the south side of the temple, there were 2 blocks of rooms just south of the inner courtyard between the temple and the outer courtyard. These rooms were arranged just like the rooms on the north. There was a walkway between the 2 blocks of rooms just like the complex on the north side of the temple. This complex of rooms was the same length and width as the other one, and it had the same entrances and doors. The dimensions of each were identical. So there was an entrance in the wall facing the doors of the inner block of rooms, and another on the east at the end of the interior walkway. Then the man told me, "These rooms that overlook the temple from the north and south are holy. Here the priests who offer sacrifices to the Lord will eat the most holy offerings. And because these rooms are holy, they will be used to store the sacred offerings, the grain offerings, sin offerings, and guilt offerings. When the priests leave the sanctuary, they must not go directly to the outer courtyard. They must first take off the clothes they wore while ministering, because these clothes are holy. They must put on other clothes before entering the parts of the building complex open to the public. When the man had finished measuring the inside of the temple area, he led me out through the east gateway to measure the entire perimeter. He measured the east side with his measuring rod, and it was 875 feet long. Then he measured the north side, and it was also 875 feet. The south side was also 875 feet, and the west side was also 875 feet. So the area was 875 feet on each side, with a wall all around it to separate what was holy from what was common.
Now,
Chapter 43. The Lord.
Later on, like after dinner is done, and they'll probably fall asleep then and stuff like that after I clean up and everything. Oh, that's what I have to do. I gotta do dishes. I never did it last night. Anyway, I'll probably find the chapter where the birth of Christ and then read that.
Lord's glory returns. After this, the
Yes,
man
this
brought me
is-
back around to the east gateway. Suddenly, the glory of the God of Israel appeared from the east. The sound of his coming was like the roar of rushing waters, and the whole landscape shone with his glory. This vision was just like the others I had seen, first by the Kebar River, and then when he came to destroy Jerusalem. I fell face down on the ground, and the glory of the Lord came into the temple through the east gateway. Then the Spirit took me up and brought me into the inner courtyard, and the glory of the Lord filled the temple. And I heard someone speaking to me from within the temple, while the man who had been measuring stood beside me. The Lord said to me, "Son of man, this is the place of my throne, and the place where I will rest my feet. I will live here forever among the people of Israel. They and their kings will not defile my holy name any longer by their adulterous worship of other gods, or by honoring the relics of their kings who have died. They put their idol altars right next to mine, with only a wall between them and me. They defiled my holy name by such detestable sin, so I consumed them in my anger. Now let them stop worshiping other gods and honoring the relics of their kings, and I will live among them forever." Son of man, describe to the people of Israel the temple I have shown you, so they will be ashamed of all their sins. Let them study its plan, and they will be ashamed of what they have done. Describe to them all the specifications of the temple, including its entrances and exits, and everything else about it. Tell them about its decrees and laws. Write down all these specifications and decrees as they watch, so they will be sure to remember and follow them. And this is the basic law of the temple: absolute holiness. The entire top of the mountain where the temple is built is holy. Yes, this is the basic law of the temple. The altar. These are the measurements of the altar. There is a gutter all around the altar, 21 inches deep and 21 inches wide, with a curb 9 inches wide around its edge. And this is the height of the altar. From the gutter, the altar rises 3.5 feet to a lower ledge that surrounds the altar and is 21 inches wide. From the lower ledge, the altar rises 7 feet to the upper ledge that is also 21 inches wide. The top of the altar, the hearth, rises another 7 feet higher, with a horn rising up from each of the 4 corners. The top of the altar is square, measuring 21 feet by 21 feet. The upper ledge also forms a square, measuring 24.5 feet by 24.5 feet, with a 21-inch gutter and a 10.5-inch curb all around the edge. There are steps going up the east side of the altar. Then he said to me, "Son of man, this is what the sovereign Lord says. These will be the regulations for the burning of offerings and the sprinkling of blood when the altar is built. At that time, the Levitical priests of the family of Zadok, who minister before me, are to be given a young bull for a sin offering, says the sovereign Lord. You will take some of its blood and smear it on the 4 horns of the altar, the 4 corners of the upper ledge, and the curb that runs around that ledge. This will cleanse and make atonement for the altar. Then take the young bull for the sin offering and burn it at the appointed place outside the temple area. On the 2nd day, sacrifice as a sin offering a young male goat that has no physical defects. Then cleanse and make atonement for the altar again, just as you did with the young bull. When you have finished the cleansing ceremony, offer another young bull that has no defects and a perfect ram from the flock. You are to present them to the Lord, and the priests are to sprinkle salt on them and offer them as a burnt offering to the Lord. Every day for 7 days a male goat, a young bull, and a ram from the flock will be sacrificed as a sin offering. None of these animals may have physical defects of any kind. Do this each day for 7 days to cleanse and make atonement for the altar, thus setting it apart for holy use. On the 8th day and on each day afterward, the priests will sacrifice on the altar the burnt offerings and peace offerings of the people. Then I will accept you. I, the sovereign Lord, have spoken.
I am going to leave it there. I know that was only 3 chapters, but it is getting late. I should get dressed and go do dishes and sit with my family. So I will see you all later, like I said, after dinner some point. Love, don't judge. Merry Christmas. Peace out. Peace out.